I'm Megan Portsche with High Desert Guardian, and I'm back at my favorite place.
Perfect. Dead center. You graduated today on that.
This is where I got my start shot shooting, and today I am pleased to say that I get to work with my friend and someone I consider a mentor. He's coming right now. This is John Shaw, and the man, the myth, the legend. I'm just so happy to be back here. We were here earlier in the year and encountered some really bad weather, so we had to give it a little bit of a pause, but we're back today, and John's going to be dialing me in with some of the basics, both pistol and rifle, so you should get a lot out of this today.
I think it's a good time to maybe show people where you started out from, and you know, we'll just break down the draw and like 3 or 4 things, and you know, working on that one shot on one target, and kind of slow it up a little bit to show the proper way of doing it.
Yeah.
So if you would pull your pistol out there, and we're getting what we call step 1, which is just aiming the pistol out there at the target, getting all this stuff here is locked in, our wrist. You know, the gun, you don't want the gun doing this, so kind of relax your wrist right here. And a lot of people, and I can't stand to see people that sell guns and stuff, and every time they shoot, the gun's doing like this.
Yeah.
So basically, you know, lock those wrists in, and the way I do that is point the thumbs, you know, and now you're getting your recoil through your whole upper body like this.
Yeah.
Okay? Another real important deal, and we turn towards him, is, you know, this was a single action gun, so a couple things you got to do. You got to knock the safety down, knock your safety down there, and then every time the gun goes off, you got to knock the safety down, and then you put it back in your holster. It's got to go back up. I like shooting. I mean, she's got a good grip on the gun, but we have more control over that if we leave our thumb on top of the safety, you know, like this. So anyway, knock it back up again, and the trigger finger, we'll make a fist. So as that safety's coming off, this finger is actually going in to the trigger guard. And it's just kind of like safety up, finger out, safety down, finger in.
Yeah.
So it all happens at one time.
Yep.
So we'll go back down again. So that's what we're gonna do. Basically, we're moving the gun out of there. As you look over here, we're using this thumb on the left hand for a guide, and thumb here is on top of the safety right there, and we pull it up, and that's laying on safety, and the safety is off. Finger will be in the trigger guard, and that's your proper grip right there. Let's go ahead and squeeze the trigger there, and that's the way everything should look. This thumb here is real important. We take this up and we put some like skateboard tape right here, and what that does, it guides the gun. If you see that on mine, it kind of guides the gun out there. If you just grab a fist here and grab a fist here, just say you had a spear in your hand, and the spear is 6 foot long, I'm only grabbing, I'll take 2 foot of it and trying to guide it. But now bring this thumb here up and bring this thumb in here for a guide. Now I got 2/3 of that spear, and that's what helps me get up and get a good sight alignment for your first shot. And of course, anybody can get a sight alignment by pulling it up and, you know, holding the gun up here and dropping the magazine out and, you know, getting it all lined up. But I want to come out there every time, safety on, finger on the trigger, and be able to squeeze the trigger. We kind of learned this, and let's go to step 2, which would be the gun basically right here. And I got both hands on it, and before I touch it, this finger and thumb is knocking the safety off, finger goes in, and I'm joining my weak hand. So this would be step 1. Step 2, safety off, finger out. As I'm coming towards you, safety down, fingers in, left hand joins you here. And what you don't want to do is cover your hand right here. You know, point the gun at your fingers. So you want to come up, this hand here stays out of the way, joins it to there. Step 3 now would be Bring your gun out of the holster.
You want it out?
Yeah, out.
Okay.
Kind of hold it right there, and your thumbs up, and your finger is outside the trigger guard.
Yep.
And as you come up, we'll knock your safety off right there and finger in. Join with this hand here, making sure your thumb is up there. Perfect.
Yep.
A lot of people just snap at the gun and look what kind of grip I got on it. And your body might be twisted one way or the other. What I like to do here is I use my middle finger, and if I happen to hit low on the gun, I can bring it up. Happen to hit back, I can bring it in. So I'm going for this 90-degree V right here, and I'm going with it with that middle finger. So come up to here, I can bring the gun out, fingers out, thumb off, finger in, and there my shot is. There again, when I come back, this all works together. Thumb up, safety on, and go back in. If I happen to hit a little low back here, I can ram it forward. I'm just using it as a hook. So this is basically a hook. Come out, fingers out, safety's down, join my left hand, there my shot is. Let's start you out, and then let's just shoot a group right there. Step one, having the gun out there, have your safety off, aim at the target, and let's just shoot you a shot. Leave it out there. Leave your gun up there. Let's shoot you another shot, and just leave your finger on the trigger, just like you do it every time. And show people how you get the slack out every time. Watch your finger right there, how very little finger moves.
Yeah, barely any movement, especially with this trigger. But there's just enough. Slack out.
Squeeze the shot. Go to a target there if you can, and she's got 3 bullets there in the same hole.
Yep, slack out. Slack out.
Yeah. Good, and that's what you need, folks.
Let's see, you did, okay, so step one, and then you want me to do the reverse. The reverse, I guess, step two is just getting
down and show you how you got there.
The safety off, yeah.
Yeah.
So getting there.
Yep.
Yeah, out, safety off, finger on that trigger, slack out, press, safety on, finger off the trigger.
And take this hand, well, there again, let's go right there. So you,
Yep.
Yeah, so let's come up again, and
back.
have your thumb on top of the safety there, and come up with it. Perfect, dead center.
And then back, safety on, finger off, trigger.
Right, let's go to step 3. You're basically separating your hands now.
Yep.
Bring this gun here back a little bit. Get your thumb on your safety. This hand here is ready to come up and meet it. So safety on, finger in, all one motion. That's slick. There again, she's still got just one lead smear down there about the size of a golf ball. All right, step 4, you put the gun in the holster. And just take your time with it, right there.
Yep. Hook it.
Thumbs up, fingers in.
Safety, finger, slack.
Perfect. And you come back, everything comes back. Thumbs up, fingers in, back out.
Yep.
So try that one more time. Leave your finger on the trigger for your second shot. Getting ready.
Let's see here.
And now she's setting up. She's setting up for that second shot. There we go.
And then come back.
Now let's go 2 shots and leave your finger on there for the third shot. There we go. Perfect. Now you set up. And it's just like if you don't get your finger back on that trigger, I mean, we didn't shot the target once, and we didn't shot it twice. You know, who cares if the gun goes off and you shoot it 3 times? Get the slack back on that. So we're gonna go back from a slide, lock back, reload. This is when your gun is completely out of ammo, and you're coming up with it. So, man, go ahead and shoot your group like you've been doing.
And should I just do it at a good steady pace, slow, show the lineup?
The slow, smooth as fast.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Come
gun
back.
goes empty.
Perfect. Perfect. I think we were cut the tape off. I don't know what else to say. That's perfect.
Look damn good.
So this is all the foundational technique that you need basically. So mastering these things is so important before you try to ever increase your speed. Work on just being smooth with all of these motions. It's very important. Otherwise you're gonna get hung up. If you add adrenaline to the mix, or you know, nerves, whatever, you can run into all sorts of hang-ups and problems. So just getting these down smoothly is step one.
And we start out not only as big steel targets at day one, we spent almost 2 days just shooting 3 to 6 inch dots on paper, you know, at 8 yards, and kind of gets boring, but it brings these basics in. It teaches the safety of the gun, gives you confidence in that gun, and then when we start shooting steel, it all, you know, starts to come together.
I didn't shoot steel for, I think, a full day probably. Yeah, it was all just paper. And a lot of times people get so bored with shooting paper, they just want to hear the ring of the steel, which I understand. It's such a great sound. But paper doesn't lie, and so that's where I started. That's where I recommend everyone starts, is with paper. Okay, so John's gonna now walk me through some rifle practice. So I'm pretty excited. It's been a long winter and I haven't gotten to work a lot with my rifle over this winter, but I think he's just again going to take us back to those fundamental basics that are important for everyone to master before you progress. If I'm a good student today, you get to see a glimpse of one of the really cool courses. It's one of my personal favorites, Adams Alley out here. So it's a shooting on the move course. It's a lot of fun, and it kind of wraps everything together into one run that you need to be a great rifle shooter.
I kind of want to start with like a step one, like we did a while ago with the pistol. So let's show them how you start with this. It's called low ready, and then we'll start with the bolt down. And same thing with single action pistol. We do the same thing with the rifle. That thumb goes down, finger goes in. Okay.
Yep.
And we kind of do that all at once as you're coming up. So you get ready to shoot the target, you come up just like that. But pull the trigger on it, and go back down again. Thumb goes in, finger in.
Wow.
Okay. And there again, folks, it's not something we do at 3 different ways. You don't bring it up and then knock the safety down and then put your finger in and then try to run the sight down. So all this is just being smooth right here. Finger down, finger up, bam. Let's go, let's shoot the next target over there, Megan. So let's just shoot just a couple of shots, just right on top of each other and see what that does. Make sure your gun's sighted in. Boom.
So that's a little low.
Good. Fingers back on the trigger again. Perfect. Perfect. All right, got 3 bullets there touching. Let's go it down and we'll bring it up and shoot one from here. All right, safety off, finger on. Bam. Perfect. All the same hole. Okay, that's .72. Gun moved a little bit right there, but your shot was still in there. So do it again. Keep the gun steady. Perfect. Here's a good drill right here. It's a reload magazine. Come up with 1 shot and bolt will lock back. She will reload it. Stand by.
Yep, and this is where I get hung up.
Okay,
So
7.5 seconds. Perfect. 4.8 seconds. All dead center there. Now she's did a more kind of a tactical reload. A lot of times when you hit the button, mag release button, your mag will fall out. You made for sure it did come out. Once you hit it, you pulled it out. Now, a way to get just a little faster on that is shoot it and try it, and then you also can maybe hold the mag in your hand, and then you got to strip it out. But the way you did it there is 2 or 3 different ways of doing this.
Yeah.
And let's just do one and see if you can just get that around and see if we do about 3.5 seconds without touching it. Perfect.
Still feels real rough and slow, but I know that it's just because I need practice.
Yeah, that's fine. But anyway, it kind of shows you, you know, fundamentals of doing stuff. And guys, this is something you could do in your garage, you know, and get this down. And like I say, Megan hadn't shot all winter, and
it shows. That's okay though, because I mean, now you're able to point out the common, you know, mistakes that'll happen if if you're rusty. Because I think most people, they might take their, their firearms out to shoot maybe a couple times a year, you know, and unless you're actually dry firing and practicing between those times, you come back and you're rusty. So, you know, working through all of this at home, dry firing, like John said, is so important. And I'm willing to be the example of what happens when you haven't been dry firing for a while.
Okay, let's come up here and we'll do 2 shots on one target. Let's shoot that second target there, it's fine.
Okay.
And then see what the time is between the two. So you just go ahead and start anytime you want to. And give me 2 shots on one target. Go ahead. Okay, pretty
So
good
a little
there.
space
That wasn't
between
that wasn't really slow. That was 2/10 between shots. That's okay. And do that again. We won't skip over the slow part.
Okay.
Okay, good.
That was more controlled that time for sure.
Both in the same hole, 63. So let's pick that up just a hair. Perfect. Difference then, 39. And let's put 2 shots as fast as you can. Okay, you see the shot difference there too?
Really
the splits is 1700s. Now let's see how fast you can go from one target to the next target and back on your first. Let's just start with 2 new targets. Let's go with the red and the black post.
Okay.
Okay, so back on your first. There you go.
I was slow on that. Okay.
That's fine. Let's see what the splits for 4500s. Good, both dead center hits. Splits 4200s. There you go. 2400s. So now we're a quarter of a second moving from target to target. And let's shoot all 3 of them and get a sight picture back on your 4th. Back on that one. Perfect. Perfect. Splits then, 29, 29. Green target 3 times. Just boom, 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 about that same pace. Try to get you a good group.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Let's do it a little bit faster. Ready? Perfect. All right, and that's 2800s, 2800s. And let's go all 3 of them. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Stand by, ready? Okay, a little bit slower on that.
Yeah.
That's okay. That was 37, 31. Rather than 28, so it's not a whole lot different. It's 300s.
Yeah.
All right, let's get them at this time. We're done with it. Ready? Perfect. 26, 2700s. That's perfect. You got a good pace. You graduated today on that.
Did I earn Adam's Alley yet?
That's amazing for her to do that. And I know we did the pistol and you worked a little bit, you know, on the pistol, but come out here and do the rifle the first day. But folks, it's all the same stuff. You learn how to shoot a pistol, keep that trigger finger relaxed, know what you're doing, and you shoot one just as well as you can the other. Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Stand by. Go.
It was,
17.84.
yeah. I slowed up this one. Whenever we run this with the guys, it is always this one or the purple target that hangs them up. None of the others, just that one or the purple. So I guess today that's blue number 3. All right, so we finished up on the range. I had a great time, as I always do when I come out here. And again, we just touched on the basics. John went over everything, you know, that you need to get started with pistol and some rifle, of course, too. I've heard, you know, bits and pieces of your career, but how old were you when you started competing?
29.
Oh, it wasn't until you were 29? So did they have, were competitions a new thing, or was that just when you got into it, or were competitions already running for a while?
They had a lot of police competitions where you shot, you know, heavy barrel 38s at basically a full silhouette type target. And then you had bullseye, which is just a military bullseye where you shot one-handed. A bowling pin match is what I call second chance, is what got me started. And it was a match you shot for for money.
But the main thing now is trying to get your shots as close together. Make sure you're doing the basics of marksmanship. Front sight, I'm shooting right dead center for it. The X of that bull is a blur. My front sight is sharp, and I'm starting to squeeze. Front sight, back sight's a blur, target's a blur, squeeze. Same thing again, squeeze, 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 squeeze.
Before anything you win would just be a little trophy or whatever. It's, you know, kind of expensive deal for me being 29 years old and just trying to make my own living. And we heard about this match in Central Lake, Michigan that was shooting bowling pins off the table and the fastest man win. Basically, I had a buddy that knew a guy that owned a bowling alley, and he bought a whole pickup load of bowling pins home, and we started shooting bowling pins off the table. And he shot 5 bowling pins off the table, and he did 5 tables, throwed out your worst, and the fastest 4 tables won. So we didn't even have the money to, our car didn't make it up there, so we rented a LTD for 4 days, unlimited mileage, and decided to go to it. And he drive a tank of gas, and I drive a tank of gas. And anyway, they had 8 matches, and we finished the top 3 of all 8 matches, and we won like 8 guns and $3,500 in cash. And I thought I'd robbed a bank, and so that's got me started on it. And the next year I went to the national championship, the IPSC, which is a combat shooting they had for civilians, and that was 1979. And we had a moving target we shot at, and you shot at it 6 times, and they said, well, you missed it once, and there's a elongated bullet hole there. And he said, oh, your bullet went in sideways rather than you hitting it twice, so we're going to give you a miss on that. And, you know, at the time I didn't know how to argue it. And come to find out, that cost me probably 2nd or 3rd place in the United States. And so anyway, I finished 6th. They said you could be alternate of the U.S. team and go to South Africa, but you got to pay your own way. And if somebody gets sick or gets hurt or disqualified, you know, we would take your score and you'd be the alternate of the U.S. team. And I said, I'll see you boys next year. And next year I won the national championships in '80 and won them again in '81. And that made me captain of the U.S. team. And we went to Johannesburg, South Africa, on all first-class tickets, and won the first world championship the U.S. ever won.
Wow.
So that got me started. And that same year they had the first world championship called the World Speed Shooting Championship, which they called a Steel Challenge. And I happened to win it too. So wrote a couple books on it and shot for the next 4 or 5 years, and wrote 1 book then in '80, and then did another one about '86. But basically I finished 1st or 2nd in every major match in the world from '80 and '86. And then I started a school teaching people how to shoot. And here we are now in Idaho, long way from Memphis.
You have much more of a career than I do in all of that.
Well, the way you're shooting, you might have a career ahead of you too. So
we'll
it's
see.
really good how you do it, and no more than you got to do it. Well, you're probably the best female shooter I ever had. Come through and get the training from us, and not compete. Yeah, that's really good. Well,
Yeah.
we love having you here, and especially with our women classes and whatever. That's Rip. He wants to be part of everything. I appreciate you coming out, and you made some friends out here, and some of our law enforcement teams. And never will forget that girl came in, and she says, "I want to be a gunfighter." And I said, "Well,
Yeah, I loved her. She was so great.
I got a gal here that would love to meet you and have you instruct and stuff."
Yeah.
And that's what makes it all special. And you having 3 daughters of your own, and you got them interested in shooting already, and something they can do with mom, and it's a good a life skill, that they will know from now on out, and teach their kids, and the world's not getting any better, and it's and if you can enjoy it for being fun, and it's also a practical practical deal too is, you know, learning how to handle a gun and teaching other people and what's safe. And this is Rip. He's a 3-year-old long-haired Malinois. Get up here and say hi, Rip. All right. Well, that's what we got. You want to see the cameras? Yeah, good camera. Okay. Now you said enough.
All right, well, thank you, John, for having us out here again. As always, it's the biggest pleasure. And guys, take all of his tips and tricks to heart that he showed you. You can't get any better than that. So learn it, train it, own it.